Alright, time to answer questions, maybe debunk some myths, and reassure potential new collectors that ancient coins are actually a pretty damn cool thing to collect. Recently, Ben, the coin geek, has made a video titled "Why are ancient coins so cheap?" And this video gives us, by looking at the comments section, an interesting insight on how a lot of US collectors, and for that matter any collector who hasn't tried collecting ancient coins, what they feel or what they fear about making that jump, getting started with ancient coins. Some feel the learning curve is a bit too steep, others think it's all just a bunch of fakes. Well, let's go over some comments that I think are relevant and try to answer them. I'll also take this opportunity to give Ben a huge shout out. He seems like a pretty nice guy, and I would frankly like that my local coin dealers were a bit more like Ben. You know, approachable, truly knowledgeable about his stuff, and passionate about it too. He often shows ancient coins on his channel, and even if he admits he doesn't study a whole lot about them, he has that little spark, that curiosity I see on most ancient collectors when looking at something brand new. It's that kind of excitement that leads people to become lifelong collectors. So yeah, if you haven't yet, follow Ben the Coin Geek. He seems to be a great guy, and he has the famous Athenian owl as his profile image, which is pretty cool. So let's start with a very relevant one. At the end of the day, I think they're cool, but realize it would take a lifetime to become well versed in ancients. I mean, if you want to know everything there is to know about every single ancient coin, yeah, it would take like 5 lifetimes. But that's not the point. Collecting ancient coins, it's about curiosity, and you really only need to start with one coin. I mean, for example, it could be as simple as you get a drachma from Alexander the Great, because you really like Alexander the Great and you want to know more about him. And that's where it begins, and then your curiosity will take you somewhere and your collection will grow. Then you're going to realize, oh, this drachma was part of a monetary standard. Oh, there's a certain catalog that lists these coins. Oh, there are other denominations. They're bronze, they're gold. Oh, the drachma from Alexander inspired other leaders, like future leaders, to strike different coins. That's how it goes. It grows. Your collection and your knowledge grows. You don't have to look at the entire span of ancient coins and think, oh my god, this is just too hard for me. Otherwise, everyone would give up. You just start small and you let your curiosity take you somewhere. For this next comment, this part is really relevant. It says, the main point with ancients is that all the coins are different. They're all struck differently, and there's an immense variety of dies. So ancient coins have a lot more features that influence its final price. That's true. You can have, like I was talking about the Alexander drachma, you can have drachmas made in awful dies, you can have some made in incredible dies. The flans, because they were all handmade. Some of them are very well made, some of them are really poorly made. There's all of these things that require a little bit more knowledge. You basically have to think a bit more, think for yourself. Sadly, there's no red book to take a reference on. I mean, they're catalogs, but they're not gonna give you everything there is to know. So you need to think a little bit for yourself there. And of course, you need to look at other examples so you can create a baseline. Like, okay, this is a bad die, this is a good die, this is how bad the dice could get, this is how good the flans could get. You really need to get to know a type a little bit to see what a fair price for it would be. I mean, it's complicated, but that's the nature of the collecting ancients. Then this person goes, about forgeries, one basic advice, don't buy from eBay. I mean, it's not good for absolute beginners, but there are good dealers on eBay. Buy from auction houses. It's better to pay the fees than to have a collection of fakes. Like, that person comes from a valid point that generally the auction houses and dealers have a lifetime guarantee. So even if later down the road you realize you got a fake, you can come to them and they have a reputation to uphold, and they're generally part of a dealers association. So you're like, hey, this coin is fake, here's why it's fake, I would like my money back. And generally, they're gonna give your money back. I personally have purchased fakes before. but I got in contact with the dealer and there was no problem. I was able to return the coin. Then this person goes, bought my first Roman coin about a month ago. Thought about getting some years ago, but what is what? Is it even real? I looked in the dealer's case and saw some in NGC holders, and for 40 bucks I couldn't pass them up. Guys, NGC holders are not a panacea. There have been counterfeit coins slapped before. It's an indication that the coin is good, but it's not necessarily. You don't have to use it as a clutch. I mean, if you are an absolute beginner and you feel warm and fuzzy about it, yeah, but you need to understand there's a very mature market and there's very knowledgeable dealers. People have been collecting for centuries. People know how to spot fakes and people have a reputation to uphold. So it's not like every single dealer is peddling fakes and trying to scam people. It's not like that. And about that point of what is what, well, that's the point. You need to have at least some hint of curiosity about ancient coins. You know, it all starts with a question like, I don't know, I like the Romans. Which coins did the Romans strike? And there it goes. That's where it begins. Then there's a really interesting comment. It says, as I understand the market, deceased persons were buried with a coin in their mouths to pay the fee to cross the river Styx. That person is referring to a Charon's oboe, and that's true. A lot of people, even in medieval times when people were Christian, they were buried with a piece of currency, like a low-valued piece of money in their mouths or in their hands. But that's not generally where ancient coins come from. These Charon's oboes, since they were in contact with, well, a dead person, you have all kinds of, you have water, you have organic matter there. Generally, the coins, if they show up in a tomb or something, they're pretty beat up. Now, the pretty coins we see today, they all come from hoards. Either they were in the soil, they were just left there and someone found it, like a single coin, and these coins could be in good and bad shape, depends on the soil, but mostly a coin in good condition was very likely from a hoard. Someone had a hoard of coins, that's how people saved back then, there were no banks, and someone in our modern era found that big jar of coins and dispersed it into the market. Another person goes, the bar for starting a collection of ancients is much higher. It takes more effort to understand them, as well as their pricing and where to safely buy them as a beginner. Once again, I mean, that's true. There's no red book, there's no like main canonical reference. I mean, there's tons of catalogs. People have been collecting and studying ancient coins for centuries, literally centuries, but it is still something that you need to dig the information, you need to look for it. And I mean, that shouldn't be seen as something that makes it harder or something that makes it not worth doing. That's the whole point about collecting ancient coins, is your curiosity taking you to seek knowledge and learn about these coins from people from the past. It's all about the curiosity, and the curiosity sadly has this bad side that it requires effort. You need to do research on the prices. You need to do research on the types of coins you're looking. You need to look at a lot of them to be able to identify fakes. I mean, the best defense against fakes is to be a good numismatist, is to see a lot of coins and to see what's out there. Now, here's another interesting myth about ancient coins. That person goes, I've always wanted to add a coin that was ancient to my collection, but when I saw some coins really cheap, I passed on them. Well, that person is afraid that something so cheap has to be expensive, otherwise it's just fake. And I mean, it's supply and demand. There are an awful lot of ancient coins out there. We're talking about thousands of years of people minting coins, and ancient societies were actually surprisingly monetized. They used a lot of coins. So there's just an abundance of material out there, so they're just not that expensive. That's it. And yeah, you can find Greek coins from the 300s, 400s BC that go for, I don't know, like $30, $50. That's just common. You might not find incredibly rare, or they might not be like in absolutely perfect condition, but they're out there and they're absolutely genuine. Then another one goes, if you have a hard time identifying coins as counterfeit, don't collect ancients unless they are graded. Ancients are the #1 counterfeit coins. I think there's so many counterfeit US coins because the market is much stronger. The coins are much more expensive. There's an established price for them. I mean, that's the typical thing of like thinking if a coin is in an NGC's lab, it is an absolutely panacea. Like oh my God, I feel like I'm bashing NGC every single day, and I have nothing against them. But you guys need to understand that this is a very mature market. There's a lot of people who have a reputation to uphold. People know their stuff, so don't worry. If you stick to good dealers, you're not going to get fakes. And just in case, so I don't repeat myself, I'll leave in the video description a couple of videos I've made with some like very basic good practices that you can apply when looking for an ancient coin so you don't buy fakes yourselves. Hopefully that helps demystify that thing that ancient coins are all fake and there's counterfeits everywhere. Like it's really easy to protect yourself from fakes. This other person goes, that is a really tough market to get into. I find it really hard knowing what the coins are really worth. Now, once more, there's no red book for ancients, but it's a matter of doing a bit of research. You have lots of auction houses that publish their results, so you have years and years of histories of prices realized, so you just have to look at them. There are also a lot of dealers online, so you can go and do research amongst a certain number of dealers. Like let's say you want a Roman denarius, and you want a Roman denarius in a specific condition of a specific emperor. It's a matter of looking around. It's a matter of, okay, there's this dealer, he's asking for 100, this one is asking for 120, and this one is asking for $400. That person asking for $400 is an absolute idiot. So, okay, this coin is supposed to be 100 to 120. You need to do the research, and that's how you find the fair price for a coin. On that point, eBay is actually useful. If you go into the sold listings, there's like 1 billion listings out there, so you can go specifically on the type of coin you want. You can look at the sold listings, and you can also have a better idea of where the price fluctuates on. I mean, that's assuming you know a little bit about the coin type, and you're not looking at fakes. But as I mentioned, it's not like it's all fakes. You're going to look at the fair price for good coins. Richard here says, nobody wants them. Nobody wants you, Richard. Next comment says, I would add that for those on a budget, Roman imperial coins are probably the best ones to collect. So much of coin designs from the Renaissance, even until today, were inspired by Roman and of course Greek designs. That is true. I mean, the first statement that Roman imperial coins are probably some of the best ones for a budget oriented, that's true. I mean, there's an awful lot of them out there, so they're typically you can get a pretty coin. Let's take a very broad term. You can get a pretty Roman imperial coin for a cheap price compared to a pretty Greek coin, let's say. And absolutely, Roman and Greek designs influenced pretty much all of Western numismatics. Coins in medieval times were in Latin. Coins from the Renaissance got inspiration in Roman designs. Neoclassical ones from the 17th, 18th, 19th century all had at least some inspiration on Roman iconography or Roman art. It's true, like the Romans and the Greeks really inspired Western coinage up to this day. And finally, that's another really interesting comment. It goes, you hit it on the head. Intrinsic value is determined by supply and demand. That's true. That's why ancient coins are cheap nowadays. Unfortunately, demand for general ancient coins is fairly limited. I believe many collectors are fascinated by ancients but hold back because there's such limited pricing information. I mean, we already discussed that. Another viewer points this out below. There's also a huge variety of quality. You showed the box of partially cleaned coins available at your store. I mean, there's always a junk bin tray, and don't neglect these coins. There's quite a lot of interesting stuff to be found there, and especially if you really know your coins and you know what you're looking into, you can find some amazing rarities in there. I would happily venture that only 1 to 3% of the coins dug up yield a coin in gradable condition. That's actually not true. Like, as I mentioned, most coins come to us through hoards, so they were nicely tucked away in a container. So generally, if most coins that reached our days were the ones hoarded away, so they tend to show up in somewhat of a nice condition. Unfortunately, I'm seeing horribly over-clean coins in NGC slabs without a grade. That is true, and that pisses me off. I mean, there's one point about ancient coin collecting is that if you are lazy about doing your research before buying something, if you don't go looking for prices, looking for quality, doing basic market research, it really punishes you. That's why you see that kind of stuff, like coins in horrible shape being slabbed by $2 coins being put on these budget slabs and sold for $40, and then people think, oh, it's in bad shape, but it's a very old coin, I'm gonna buy it, and they buy something that is 20 times overvalued. You really need to do your research, otherwise you're gonna get kicked in the butt. They sell because people have no idea what they're buying. Exactly. I mean, that's the point. It all starts with curiosity. Start with one coin, but do your research. It's about curiosity. Go look stuff up. Don't be lazy. There it goes. That's the slogan for ancient coin collecting. Don't be lazy. Another one, this is a bit of a tangent question, but it's interesting. I would be interested in hearing about coins from the 1300s to the 1700s, so late medieval to early modern age. Are any from that era affordable for an average collector? For that kind of era, I mean late medieval and early modern, you really started getting into the niches of certain countries. I mean, for example, Spanish medieval coins and Spanish early modern coins. These coins, if you want to see the prices for these coins and what is available out there, you really need to start focusing on the literature and the markets for these specific markets. So you like French medieval coins, you're gonna have to look into French literature, into the French market, into French dealers, and that's how it goes. But yeah, coins from the 1300s to the 1700s, if you're not looking for anything rare or something very exquisite, there's a lot you can buy for the same price of Roman coins. It's really not that much more expensive. It's actually the same price, really. Then another troll goes, nowadays I would expect most so-called ancient coins would be fake. No, they're not fake. Then there's a comment from one of my subscribers. I know this person. He goes, it's all daunting for the American collector, but this is where collectors' creativity comes in handy. Agree 100%. Assembling a collection of ancient coins allows a collector to focus on a theme, whether it be, for example, specific deities or animals, specific regions, a particular monarch or era of monarchs, etc. Absolutely true. You make your own collection. It's not dictated. You don't have like a typeset or a range set. I don't know. You make your own collection. A collector of ancients can tell a story with his collection. See Classical Numismatics here on YouTube. Oh, thank you. Rather than assemble a sterile collection of dates and mint marks, or chase key date coins. That's true. And just so I don't take forever, I'll just go for one last comment. It always goes back to buy the book before the coin. True. There are centuries of literature and ancient coin collecting. It's really important for you to have a big and healthy, quote unquote, library when you start collecting ancient coins, because it really helps you see what's out there, see what's in your coin. And it's one of these hobbies where a lot of the knowledge is still in books. You can find a lot online, but the really specific stuff, it's in the books. So yeah, always buy the book before the coin, research, and then buy. Correct. I have a couple of ancient Roman coins. NGC's attribution is lacking. It is. They just put a very basic piece of information that can spark interest and help people do their research, but it's very basic. They just put the bare minimum. My owl is raw. There it goes. Athenian owls go raw. And I do have to say, holding an ancient coin in your hand instead of a slab is much more exciting. Absolutely correct. So there goes, nearly 20 minutes of reading comments. Well, I hope this little chat helped ease some people's concerns about making that transition, making that jump into collecting ancient coins. Hopefully the content in my channel helps. So yeah, what I could say is thank you, Ben, for calling people's attention to ancient coin collecting, and come join us. It's pretty awesome. All right. Take care, happy collecting, and I'll see you soon.